All right, welcome everybody. We're week 2 for March of the Machines League, and we got Chris York back in the feature match here up against John P. Justin's going to be looking at his hand. So they were broadcast partners just 8 days ago for the last mega draft, but now they've turned on each other. Uh, me and Justin would never participate in this kind of barbaric activity, but they're facing off here tonight. What do we see?
Yeah, starting off spicy here with the Yorion companion that is just shown off to everyone.
Let's see.
John with a bit less ideal hand. He seems to be running a straight 3-color deck, but has mulligan to 6 because his first hand did not have more than one color in it, and this he has now a similar problem in the second hand, but at least he has the Timberland Ancient to get green.
Yeah, so John here is going to be playing an 80 card deck, and your fixing can only go so far when you have what like 30 plus lands in your deck. So
Yeah,
Chris York appears to have a hand of Rakdos cards. He has blue mana in his hand, so looks like he's 3 colors in some fashion. But yeah, this Yorion deck's going to be interesting. So John has it's going to take longer to get to 2 colors if you're playing Yorion. So yeah, I imagine the mana base may hold him back here. Chris York's pretty straightforward hand here. He has an Etherblade Agent, and he has some cards from going offset. So I know he always likes to go to different sets. So he doesn't like to open packs from the same set. So it looks like he's been all over the place already. He's at 6 losses. So he's got some different cards here. He's got a Pendragon Strongbull in his hand, which was an Artifact Matters card from Brothers War.
yeah,
He's got an Igneous Inspiration, which is from Strixhaven. He's got a Molten Tributary in play, which is from DMU. So he's been all over the place. He also has a Mishra's Research Desk, which he just drew, and a Furnace Host Charger, which is the 5/5
okay.
with cycling. So looks like he's just going to be playing his cards out here. If John plays a creature with 3 or less toughness, good chance it's going to get bolted here by the inspiration. So what are John's options?
Well, he has the choice now between. He looks like he's going to put Yorion in his hand, but he does have like a Chomping Kavu and a Doomscar where he could have played this turn. And he's just drawn Artistic Refusal, which is the 6 mana counter spell and draw 2, discard 1.
Yeah, don't know if
That
he's
can
going
be
to have
used
time for
later
that
on.
one. Yeah, don't know if he's going to have time for that one just yet, but yeah, he got the Blighted Burgeoning, which is nice. This is actually one of
Yeah,
the better versions of this card we've seen. These, we see this every so often. This 3 mana aura, make your land tap for an extra mana, and you get some bonus. And
yeah.
this is a pretty good bonus here, getting a little 2/2 later on. So it
Yeah,
looks like,
well, we come to realize that like the effects that that we don't usually want, like this usually like this mana producing effect, this act of treason, the the classic discard an extra card in red to draw 2 cards. Like they all become much better when like a creature's added to it. Like a very kind of recent effect of this was in back in War of the Spark, where told the invasion became a lot better when it amassed one, and Honor the God of Pharaoh, the effect became a lot better because it also amassed and cards to look out for.
yeah, like we always do get a bonus with these 3 mana land enchantments, but this is probably one of the best ones we've seen. Like we've seen life gain, we've seen put a counter on something. We've seen as recently with Shadows of Innistrad, you get a clue token, which was very nice, but still didn't affect the board. But this is nice. He's gonna get another incubate here off his Yorion.
Yeah, he'll
Um,
even be able to pop it right away because of the untapped land.
yeah, so this is gonna present a bit of an issue for York. He'll still be able to attack with his 3/3 Death Touch here, but his hand is kind of just a bunch of creatures. A bunch of creatures that don't tangle with a 4/5 especially well.
Yeah, I mean, John's blocks do not look very good, honestly. Like the 3/3 trades for both the 2/2 incubates, or because of the Igneous Inspiration here, he's going to offer basically just like block with your Yorion, or I'll just get to draw another card and bring you down to 11.
Yeah, so I mean, I assume he's only opened 1 pack of Strixhaven based on his tendencies. So he's got an Elemental Summoning. That's the only one. Maybe, I was thinking maybe he had the 5 mana one that exiles in there, but no such thing. Yeah, so he's picked up a few more creatures in the last few turns. Nothing that's going to impact the board quite yet. And he's actually a bit limited on red mana because he has a Kenra Spell Spear in hand. He has Night Squad Commando, which is from Ikoria.
Yeah.
And he's got Rankle and Torbrand, which costs double black, double red, and then one. So he's got a lot of cards, but just none of them are doing too much just yet.
Yeah, this Yorion going to go in front of the 3/3. John technically had an answer to it with Halo Forger getting the Igneous Inspiration from Chris York's deck from Graveyard.
Yeah, he just said I don't want to give him another card. I think that's the
Yep.
issue here. I think he feels okay with what he has right now, and looks like he's mostly got his mana lined up. I assume maybe there's still some stuff he might have trouble casting if he's playing three colors, but yeah, he's mostly got it settled here.
Okay, so it looks like John's kind of okay. He's gonna put a counter on the incubate token. He's gonna basically make Chris York either block with his strong will and sack the Mishra's research desk. And that kind of, I guess, John was okay with just being like, I'm gonna trade my creature away so I can get this research desk off the table.
Yeah, I think is that the research desk has Unearth, so he can dig that up to find something else. I think he does have to Mountain Cycle here, since he didn't draw land, and his hand is just full of spells that he wants to deploy. But yeah, we're not seeing
Yeah,
John struggle with mana, but with an 80 card deck, I mean, we talk about 40 card decks, the mana bases are usually pretty bad. 60 card, it gets worse. 80 card, it's like you kind of just cross your fingers and hope for the best sometimes. But yeah, John got his
yeah.
Bladed Burgeoning, which allowed him to do what he wants here.
Well, actually, currently, because he didn't have double black, he can't cast the Deadly Derision in his hand, which will soon be fixed because he's drawn a second Blade Burgeoning. Basically, just now he has access to virtually any spell in his deck, assuming there's not some egregious mana color that, like, maybe he's not running an ER or something. He can't cast that.
I'd be surprised, but we've seen crazier builds. But yeah, this Doomscar Warrior is good here. It's gonna bring out a block, most certainly. And York's got a double block here, but this is opening him up
Oh,
for some trouble. Yeah,
yeah,
see,
gang.
a single block can't go too wrong. You can only really get one for one. But
Yeah,
now he got to kill both creatures and he gets to draw a card. Uh, he only got to look at one card, but it happened to be a land, so good enough.
yeah. If land or creature, that's most of our deck,
Yeah,
anyways. So,
yeah. This Doomscar Warrior has well, I mean, it's a rare, so it's played out like a very good rare would.
yep. It's also one of the notably the only backup creatures to give trample, which is very relevant at some points of the game.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. All right, so it looks like he's just gonna play out his 5/5 here, and hope that that's gonna stop this 4/3 from attacking.
At the moment, it just looks like it's okay. Well, John has also drawn Pylon, but he did have the option of just Halo foraging back the Deadly Derision, and he looks like he's just going to do that to just be more efficient with his mana and to basically, uh, use the most mana possible.
Yeah, well, Chris
Uh,
has been drawing creatures, but not really interaction, and John's been drawing the interaction here. And yeah, Halo
yeah,
Forger is a card that's honestly it plays like a rare a lot of the time.
it's really insane. Like, it didn't have to. Did it have to be like a 3/1 flyer for this effect? This card usually kills something on the board when it comes in, and also is just a threat to the opponent's life total because of how it's statted and how it's a flyer.
Yeah, they just push this as far as you can. I think 3 mana, 3/1 flyer. It can get a spell from any graveyard. Uh, the only thing it can't do is like convoke to help cast the spell that you grab.
Yeah, yeah,
That's about it. That's the weakness. Yeah, this card is pushed basically through the roof for an uncommon. Like we've seen rares that do similar things. Back in Ixalan, there was the red card, the pirate that could grab a spell from the opponent's graveyard only, and this one can grab from either. So yeah,
yeah.
very very unique.
Very telling of the power creep that's in this set.
Oh yeah. All right, so here's Rankle and Torbren. Has a lot of text on it, but most importantly, it has flying, first strike, and haste. When it deals combat damage, you can get some various effects. So he's just gonna pile on
Pile
his
on.
this improbable alliance, quite literally.
Yes, like you just see like Rankle and Torbrand got piled on by a couple of treasures and a Halo Forager, and
Yeah.
that didn't have to take it out.
Yeah, so back in Eldraine, there was a card Improbable Alliance, which the art featured a dwarf teaming up with a fairy. So that's why this card is basically that. It's the improbable alliance. All right,
Yeah.
so this Doomscar Warrior is really going to take over here, finding a big 7 drop to come down and put the pressure on. Yeah, so Chris York can he has Rumbling Rock Slide, which can kill one of these creatures, and he has some blockers for the others. But I think he might see the writing on the wall with this big 5/5 coming down to
Yeah.
put him over the top.
Yeah, I also mentioned before that John still has the artistic refusal. He can cast it due to his blighted burgeonings, and that probably will seal up the deal here. He'll be able to counter anything that he feels like is worth countering, and that probably gets him enough board presence to just end the game.
Yeah, so Chris York, he had his mana. He was able to cast creatures, but he wasn't interacting. John got some interaction in key spots and stuck a couple of strong creatures, and we're seeing York trying to battle his way back into this. He's going to unearth the research desk, I suppose. Nothing in his hand is doing the trick, so let's see what's on top here. But he only has 3 mana to work with. So I'm not sure what he's expecting to find, but it's certainly not Valentin, Dean of the Vein, right here.
Valentine actually seems like a very solid card. Like just the front side, it's a 1/1 menace lifelink, and then you can just like exile things, which is something very not very common in the set of Mom. And exiling is quite powerful. It contains a lot of recursion.
Yeah, he's going to show off his Dean, and he's going to go to sideboarding. Right, so yeah, it looks like he's pretty much like he's green red, or he's black red, sorry, with a few blue cards. I wouldn't call it quite a splash. He's got a Gaudy Turtle Kefnet in there, which requires double blue. Um, he doesn't have too many blue cards, but the blue cards that he is playing definitely require a lot of blue. Yeah, he's got rares from all over the place. Liliana Dreadhorde General, Tyrant of Care Ridges from Brothers War, which is a dragon that deals 4 damage to anything when it comes in. So
Yeah,
his journeys across the multiverse have got him some an impressive array of cards, but he needs to pull it together here. I'm very saddened and heartbroken to see Honor the Godpharaoh in the sideboard of his black red deck. That was a personal
yeah,
favorite of mine.
yeah. You and your well, as I mentioned before, it's one of those effects that wasn't very good by on its lonesome, but the fact that made a creature made it kind of like above average.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he has 2 copies of Invasion of Mercadia, which is probably a better version of that. So
Yeah, it's
I'll give
fair.
him a break. But I do love that one. Looking through sideboard, some other rares I've seen is Vivian Monsters Advocate from Ikoria, but obviously he's not playing. Golden Argosy, if you remember that one. That was
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah.
that was best friends with the Wingmantle Chaplain back in the Dominaria United. But yeah, so his blue cards here: Invasion of Segovia, God Eternal Kefnet. But then he has stuff like Tyrant Scorn, which is a blue black instant, and third class Iconoclast, which is a blue red 2 drop that you really want to get down early. So that's why I'm hesitant to call the blue a light splash here.
Man, imagine if the Iconoclast was in the Mom set as opposed to the Joyful Storm Sculptor. That card would be the nuts
I
for
mean
the
that
Convoke deck.
that card's just good and would be amazing in every set. The card is just very
Yeah,
strong.
yeah,
So yeah, he's weighing his options here. It looks like he wants a Lazatet plating and a bladed battle fan, just as maybe a bit of protection against all the removal he saw. He did see a fair amount of removal, so he said, "Let me try and
yeah.
protect myself a little bit." Lazatet plating was a very nice one, and bladed battle fan, as we know, just is a little. It's a trick that sticks around, that gives indestructible. So Chris's hand isn't too hot here. He's kept 5 lands with an Etched Familiar and a Furnace Reigns, which is that act of treason. So he's looking to draw some action here.
John's hand looks actively worse than Chris's because he has no access to black mana. Only has black cards in his hand mostly, so can't really cast anything with his hand. He's thinking of debating because like he has 4 lands. He has a Timberland Ancient, but he can't cast anything with the mana he's currently being presented.
Hmm.
I'm assuming this will be sent back, but maybe he thinks that his draws might be powerful enough that he can potentially just steal the game away.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna have to mulligan a lot with a deck like this, but the power's there, right? The power's there.
Yeah, the
It's
power
just that
swing.
I think he's gonna have to mulligan probably more than the average deck, just based on 80 cards, 3 colors. So yeah, he is taking the mulligan, and looks like
Yeah,
a second mulligan, unfortunately.
yeah. He saw a hand with one land and decided that I don't think that deck could ever win with one land, considering how everything is high. Everything has high mana costs and very specific mana costs.
uh,
Uh,
if you're on the draw and you have like Portent Tracker and Blighted Burgeoning in one land, it's probably something you could keep, but still,
well, assuming that land has to be a
still not
forest,
good.
right?
Yeah, still not good. All right, so Chris has drawn a nice 4 drop here, Invasion of Eldraine, which is gonna really be backbreaking on this double mulligan here from
Oh
John,
yeah.
who does have a nice 2 drop to start off with. Butcher.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed about John's deck is that it didn't, at first glance, didn't seem to have many Phyrexians. He does have 2 grafted butchers in his deck, but he does have one of the few Phyrexians in his hand with completed Huntmaster.
Yeah, completed Huntmaster coming down. Just that card's just been a really, really solid performer. Combines well with a lot of what's going on in the set.
Yeah, it also just it needs to die first because it pseudo protects your other creatures from removal because you can sack them for value.
Like if you're playing that with Ichor Drinker, which is that one mana 1/1, you could basically turn the Ichor Drinker into 2/3/3s with the completed Huntmaster. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
like it's just very, very powerful. The ability of what it does. So despite the Malta 5 here, John's got a functional hand of creatures which are, you know, bigger sized than York's. York's creatures are looking a little bit small here,
This is the turn I imagine
but
the
he
invasion
is
of Eldraine to come down though.
yeah
Yes.
he is
Yep.
going to nab the last 2 cards here. So let's see how he feels about this. So that looked
Not
like
great.
it was an invasion and of some kind and a 5 drop, right?
It was the invasion of Ikoria,
Yeah,
was not currently castable, but would have probably gotten something quite useful if it got cast next turn.
yeah. York took a look at that, but right now the board's just going to be stalled here for a minute. Okay, so he's got an island, which means he has access to Yorion. I mean, Yorion doesn't really, uh, it doesn't blink anything for value, but it is going to be a 4/5 flyer that York presently cannot deal with.
Well, unfortunately for John, he doesn't have a second blue source, so
Yeah,
he can't actually cast this
no,
Yorion.
not quite yet. So Hanger Scrounger is
So
going to come down. I think he's gonna, yeah, he wants to get this island out of his hand here.
yeah, I also could attack the invasion here. He's probably John probably trades with the War Historian, but you do get a creature off the board, and you also get that loot that you mentioned.
All right, so he's drawn now an Igneous Inspiration, which is nice because that's gonna get him a 4/4 token. The turn after he casts it, and it's gonna keep getting him little 1/1. So that's 2 more 1/1s basically. The Igneous Inspiration, and he's got the Furnace Rains, the active treason in hand. So right, so here's the blue source. Yorion's gonna come down next turn, but for now, not much to be done for John here.
Yeah, the only unfortunate part about this is that he probably has to aim the Igneous Inspiration upstairs because the completed Huntmaster, as I said, it just doesn't die to the 3 damage, and the Grafted Butcher, if it was targeted, he could just sack it with the Huntmaster
He
for
could he
like a
could
three
he
three
could
if he
throw it
did.
at the invasion if he wants.
Yes, that is true. He could do that.
I'm sure he would like to have that little 2/2 flyer that's gonna deal 2 every turn.
Oh, I suppose what could happen is that Yuri could attack the invasion, and if he lets it through, he could finish it off with the Igneous Inspiration, or if he blocks with the Huntmaster, he can kill it off, finish it off with the inspiration.
Looks like
Or if he blocks the butcher.
he's thinking about using Furnace Rains here to take the Huntmaster. Though the Huntmaster cannot sacrifice itself. If it could, this would be a great play. But as it is, it's he's just going to take this. Yeah, so there's a few things he could do here. He could sack like a 1/1 token, which will grow the jury, Master of the Review. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like he said, there's nothing really to aim this Igneous Inspiration at. Like the 2/2 will get sacked. It doesn't kill the Huntmaster. Um, so he's decided to steal it instead, and now he can decide what he wants to do because he does have attacks here now.
He he actually can, if the Huntmaster hits the face, gets a treasure, and he can Igneous Inspiration the Huntmaster after if that happens.
Yeah, that I think he's weighing his options here. There's a lot of thought being put into this because there's a lot of pieces here, and he does know the Orion's coming, so he has to kind of prepare for that. All right,
Yeah,
so let's see how much he wants
does,
to attack with here.
does Furnace Range make the treasure if it hits a battle? Also, I believe it would make sense for it too,
In
just considering the
this
fact.
in this set, most of the cards that I think every card that requires you to deal combat damage to a player to get something also triggers off battles. I think they designed it that way, kind of like they did in War of the Spark with Planeswalkers.
Yeah, makes sense. Silent Master is also going towards the red zone, towards the battle.
Okay, so he's
Uh,
just attacking with those. He's not, and he does not want to discard his Title Terror or his Igneous Inspiration here.
this is you know, because like John could actually just block the Hanger Scrounger. The battle doesn't die. He thinks he's gonna get his complete master back, but that's, as we know, it's probably gonna get Igneous Inspiration after he gets the treasure token.
Yeah, yeah. So he's basically he's made the best use of his Furnace Reigns as he could here. Um, which is basically essentially he's got a 1/1. He's got two 1/1s this turn. He's got a counter on Jury. He's got both of his opponent's creatures dead, and he's got a 4/4 coming next turn. So he took a card that Active Treason is a situational card, but he took it and he extracted a lot of value from just that one card, and was able to
Yeah,
deal with the problem on the other side.
it kind of makes me happy how they put that sort of unique effect at uncommon now, and they could now give it a bit more like unique effect bonuses as opposed to before it was always a common, always had like such a marginal bonus, and never really seemed good enough.
Yeah, so I was about to say right off the top comes the removal for Yorion, but it costs two black. So again, we see these three color mana bases acting up again. So he drew Extinguish the Light, which is just destroy target creature.
Okay.
You get some life if it's mana value 3 or less, I believe. But he can't
Um,
cast it, so he's just amassing 1/1s here. He can just flip this battle by throwing some of his 1/1s or throwing one of his 1/1s to the wayside. So what's John got in his hand here that he's drawn over the last couple turns that he's not playing?
he, he's got a pair removal. One of them is castable, and the other is not. He does not have currently double green to be able to cast a tandem takedown, but he does have a deadly derision, which can get rid of anything that John seems to dislike. Unfortunately, it's there's many things on the opponent's side of the board that seems to be problematic. Like this 4/4, like it's just a mass of creatures that can't be dealt with one removal spell.
Yeah, I feel like York could have thrown away one of his 1/1 tokens to get that battle flipped, just to
Yeah,
get that damage starting to pile on here.
yeah, or even just gets a removal spell, right? Like that 2/2 has to kind of be answered in order to like not just die inevitably to it.
Yep. Well, the tandem takedown is online here, so
Yeah.
he can pick off another threat. So here comes the black mana here for the Extinguish the Light, which is going to open up a whole lot of attacks here.
Oh yeah. This Chris probably not throwing away the 1/1s because he's just like, I have this removal spell. If I get black mana, that Yorion will be gone anyways. I won't really have to risk much into attacking anymore.
Yeah. He's gonna play the Title Terror here instead. He's gonna save it for next turn when he can get in for 5. He doesn't need to kill the Yorion right now. It's like he's not threatened by it, and he doesn't have to get through for damage this turn. Looks
Yeah.
like he is considering an attack, even after he played his 5/6. I think he realized maybe I want to attack, even though usually we want to do that before combat or before we tap out. But yeah, he decided right after he played his Title Terror that he wants to get this invasion flipped, and I don't blame him.
I suppose now he's like now I have two threats as opposed to the only one thing, and he's basically just like you need to answer both of them.
Yeah, the five
So
six
the
is a
Child Terror,
problem, and the
yeah,
fairies are a problem. So uh, the Title Terror probably more of a problem. It does kill faster.
Okay, so here's a good one for John. He's drawn Invasion of Vryn. This card very powerful on the front side, basically essentially just a draw two with more versatility.
Yeah, so
And the backside's amazing.
it's casting Sift, which is a sorcery that has that text on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, on the backside you get to copy a spell, including creatures potentially.
Yeah, unfortunately for John, he's drawn his sift wasn't very good. He's drawn 3 lands.
Oh, you drew 3 lands. Oh, that is
Yeah,
not good at all. This Yorion's gonna hit the graveyard, and the attacks are on here. So John is now under siege officially. Now that his only good line of defense is gone.
how many creatures? How many spells are? What's in Chris York's hand?
He just has a swamp right now.
I think I think he could have possibly considered attacking with more than just the 4/4 and the 2/2, because at this point you kind of just want to get your opponent dead.
Yeah,
With how ahead you are on board, you never know when your opponent might have a random board wipe in this deck. He is black. He could have Invasion of Fiora. It could
yeah.
ruin your entire game plan, and you'll most likely lose on the spot because you have nothing left in the tank.
And something like Corruption of Tawashi, which is a slow card by nature, but like this is a card that could bring John back into the game potentially. If he finds enough transform cards. Cameo of Whispered Hope, not exactly what you want here, but it's a body.
Yeah.
Right, so here's Valentin. Um,
Okay.
Unfortunately, it does not trigger off tokens dying. He won't even get the option to make a token, but looks like he is going to go. Let's say he's going to attack with Jury here. It does have like a pretty reasonable attack. Can either trade for the 4/4 or trade for two of the other creatures.
Or just send it up to the face. But John's just gonna make him use it, make him have to use the 2 damage to finish off the 4/4.
Well, can't he just deal
Uh,
2 damage right to him, and then on his upkeep he'll die?
yes, that would work out, but I
Yeah.
think he's gonna see that he could kill the 4/2 and
Yeah. I like.
realize that upkeep that he could have killed the opponent.
Yeah, I like just killing the opponent, but I mean, you sort of you attack your Jury in imagining it's the 4/4 is going to block it, and your mind just sort of auto sets to okay, I'm just gonna kill the 4/4 off, but either way, a small error, but not not a fatal one. So Chris York, as he's known to do, he did sideboard in the first game, but this game just clicks through very quickly, as we've seen him do in the past sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think what he's seen from John has really sparked like a different game plan, because like John's deck just play good stuff
Yeah,
and
removal.
kind of outvalue your opponent.
He saw basically the same thing he saw for the first game, which is some ramp, some removal, and a big flying bird serpent.
Yep.
So he brought in a couple of protection spells, just cheap protection spells based on the amount of removal he saw, and he's happy with it. Like his deck has the power, right? He's been to all these sets. He's opened up some really powerful rares. He just needs to survive to cast them. But what we don't see is like a ton of removal from Chris, and I mean that's not necessarily his fault. It's he's playing what he has opened.
Yep.
But like usually black and red, one of the reasons why you end up black and red is because that's sort of like the two big removal colors. So a lot of time, like when you play black red in league, it's because you got those removals, and then maybe some rares, but definitely that's usually something that pulls you into that color combo. But
Yeah.
he does have a couple that we saw.
Maybe it's possibly just doesn't have removal in this pool period, and he just has to go to these colors because that's where his removal is.
Yeah, I didn't get a detailed look at his sideboard, but I did see Shatter the Source was a card he wasn't playing, which
Okay.
look, maybe my mindset is is outdated, but like those expensive red spells, I almost always play the first one, almost through the entirety of League. Just like sometimes you need to reach out and kill something, and this is probably the best one we've ever seen as far as these 5 or 6 drop removals from red. Um,
Oh
I
yeah.
can't think of a better one that we've seen at common. So
I've
if you need
I've been quite
removal, that
impressed by
one
this.
it kills basically everything, and you could play it for pretty cheap. Like with the board he had last game, you could have cast it for like literal 0 mana. in many of those turns. So yeah, this is something to
Yeah,
look out for. If you sort of cast the five and red, the 5 and 6 red mana red spells to the side in your mind, this one maybe this set is the one where you do want to play it. Because in other sets they have been like bad or very medium. Um, but he's gonna go for this game with the same deck as game two. Did John do any sideboarding while we were chatting here?
yeah. He has sideboard and a negate. Realizes that my threats are important. They need to stay on the board, especially if my opponent's starting to pull ahead, and I'm going to be behind most of the time because I'm playing 3 colors. So the negate will help him kind of just like reach that stabilizing point that he wants against Chris's deck.
Yeah, Wary Thespian. I'm glad we get to see this card because this has been an overperformer so far in the format. Kind of unexpected because we've seen these 2 mana 3 ones with like what amounts to trinket text for years and years and years, and they're never
Yeah,
premium. But just the Surveil one when it
yeah,
comes in and when it dies, just so nice. And it trades
yeah. The
up.
only
It could block 3/3s. So very nice one.
Yeah. The only real downside to this card is that it does die to like the 1/1 tokens that blue and red are common to make. But yeah, it's been very good. The body's solid. The yeah, you just said the surveil is very important, especially when it dies. The die trigger is like seems to be like an icing on this card.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's Consuming Etherborn, kind of like a very mediocre filler card, but it is kind of taken over the board here. So York has a couple of nice 6 drops in his hand, but not too much to bridge the gap here. He's got the Mishra's Research Desk to dig for a play for probably next turn. But the rest of his hand, he's got 3 lands, Tidal Terror, and he's got that Tyrant of Care Ridges. So as long as he's healthy when that comes down, I think he'll be pretty happy.
Okay, so
So I think he's going to choose the Igneous Inspiration to just kill this, kill something next turn.
yeah, John next turn has like the choice of either holding up Artistic Refusal because it has Convoke, or he can play as Yorion or Karuga. Uh,
Oh, he has a Karuga as well.
yeah,
Yeah, he could get down a Karuga, draw a card, and then Yori on the Karuga and draw 2 more.
yeah,
Uh,
it's pretty insane.
you're, I could be on board with that. Yeah, like
I'm assuming.
you never love casting Karuga and just drawing 1 card, but if you are blinking it next turn to draw 2, I think you're pretty happy. But yeah, kind of open faced here. This Igneous Inspiration is gonna hit the Etherborn.
I wouldn't be surprised if he actually looted away a land instead of getting his learned card. It is something that learned cards can do. It's like the hidden mode where you just discard a card for your hand to draw. But
Well, he wants to get to 6, and he has exactly 6 right now. So I don't think he was interested in looting away a land. He cannot cast the Tidal Terror just yet. But I think this Tyrant of Carriages is going to come down and pick off something. At least the Karuga, if not something else that he plays. He's
yeah, I
also
just imagine that he's gonna play Yorion here because like he has a tap land here, which kind of limits him in a certain way. He cannot cast the Timberland Ancient in his hand, uh, and also if like he doesn't cast anything with an open faced Yorion in his hand, it's gonna be like very very fishy.
Yeah, so so York also has in hand Rumbling Rock Slide to deal with anything. So between Tyrant of Care Ridges and Rumbling Rock Slide, 2 threats are gonna get taken down here. But on the other side, York has yet to apply any pressure here. So both sides are just sort of jockeying for card advantage, and John's gonna try and pull ahead here by drawing another card off of his Karuga. Yeah, so he's not going to get greedy and try and draw like 2 or 3 off the Kruga. Sometimes you can afford to do that based on the board state, but
Yeah.
and your life total. But he's just going to say, "Let me draw a card. I have 2 big creatures, and I would not be surprised to see a dragon come down and kill this Karuga, and then Rumbling Rockslide can take care of Yori on next turn if he wishes.
Yeah.
Pretty good play here,
So
and
Tyrant.
he also gets to attack for 1. So
Yeah, and this Tyrant of Care Ridges. I thought it was a
well,
4/4, but it's a 4/5. And
well.
yeah, John doesn't have an answer to this. He only has a Cosmic Hunger, and that doesn't do enough damage.
Like I think the first time I saw this, I just said, "What? Like how they put this on a card?" Just deal four
Yeah,
damage to anything, like including you could deal it like direct damage to the
the
player.
players. Yeah,
It can also in this set it's gonna kill most of the invasions as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
for
another
sure.
bonus here. Your 4/5 just comes in and kills an invasion. Sure.
Yeah, John thinking either hold up Artistic Refusal or Timberland Ancient. Artistic Refusal kind of hard to hold up here, considering your opponent can just has his two creatures just get back by Yorion by themselves. Because like
Yeah.
Tyrant, I'm assuming it's a dragon has fire breathing.
Yeah, artistic refusal is kind of bad on when you're on the back foot. It's just so many resources. Like even if you have a couple creatures, it's still a lot of resources.
Okay, so
Yeah.
John's gonna attack for 4. I guess hoping for a block, but
I assume he
Chris being tapped
has
out, but I'm gonna fall for it.
some trick of some kind.
Yeah, he had a Cosmic Hunger to like finish it off if they
Okay.
bounced off each other.
Yeah. No. Well,
But
still good. All right. So Chris York drawn a etched familiar, so that's not too interesting. He looks like he's gonna be just aiming his rock slide at this ancient instead of the Yorion. Yorion, he can attack through. The agent, the ancient, he cannot attack cleanly.
yeah,
Okay,
so it
so
gets
in comes the tyrant. Here comes Dreg Recycler. Just you're kind of two drop of choice in the Rakdos decks.
yep, it's fine. Having instant speed sack has its uses, particularly in blanking your opponent's removal.
Oh, he's drawn a bladed battle fan now. So even if this cosmic hunger tries to do something here, he can stop it with this sideboarded card.
Yeah, that's massive. The Blade of Battle fan I found to actually be very useful when it is, when because that effect is quite strong to have at certain points in the game.
Yeah, we see these indestructible tricks from black, or like these tricks that your creature comes back into play if it dies. But this one, it leaves behind it leaves behind something. It leaves behind an artifact which you can use for sacking purposes. Um, like so with this Dreg Recycler, it can sack the Blade of Battlefan later if he wants to. So is John have something to counter fight this Battlefan?
Yeah, he's gonna use the Artistic
Okay.
Refusal. It's not really the card you want to counter because you're technically spending 6 mana to counter a 2 mana spell. Artistic Refusal will draw a card off of it off its second ability,
So
but again, not the big hitter you were expecting to hit with this counter spell.
So effectively, every card on the stack and the creatures that are involved in combat with each other, they're all going to the graveyard this turn.
Yep,
All
yep,
right,
exactly.
so we kind of start anew here. We got multiple cards used on each side, multiple creatures dead. So York's doing math here, but he should just be letting this happen.
Yeah, uh, both big flyers are going to the grave. The Tyrant was kind of York's big pressure
Yep.
creature. So now John can kind of be comfortable. Like he only has to really worry about this Etherblade agent, but even then he has a Halo Forger in hand to like buy back
Oh,
any
he's
kills
got
from
the
the
Halo
graveyard.
Forager. Okay, now this is getting interesting. I was gonna say, Chris is building out a board that's, could swing it in his direction, but Halo Forger can just take a game and turn it completely on its head.
Yeah, the most scary creature on Chris's board is the Etherblade agent, but if he anything that John gets that could get a bit of value can be negated by the Drag Recycler.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. My best Halo Forger so far in a draft has been taking opponent's Sunfall, casting that one.
that's pretty gross.
Yeah, opponent's like, I'm gonna Sunfall, I'm behind on board. Then I'm like, okay, well, I can return the favor. Yeah, very gross card. Yeah, so he's the Cosmic Hunger doesn't resolve, but it ends up with the Etherblade Age in the graveyard, which is what John was intending. So here's
Yep.
an island here, which brings the Tidal Terror. So another big beefy creature coming down for York here.
Yeah, John's
John,
kind of
I think,
forced to block.
yeah. I mean, I think he's happy. He got his value from the Halo Forger. Unless you're trying to pressure battles or your opponent's really low on life, the Halo Forger just trades away after it gets its value. Like, you still get a 2-for-1 every time, pretty much. Hard not to.
Now another threat for John to deal with. Like things like Timberland Ancient and Corruption of Tawashi, but doesn't have a straight up answer to this title terror that can be two shot John essentially because of the he knows he has the elemental summoning and the title terror is online to hit his face.
Yep, he does. Yeah, he has a creature in hand to give it unblockable. So I mean, John can play the 6/5, but it's not solving the problem at hand here, and it's not killing. It's not going to be killing York fast enough either.
I guess the 6/5 just says that you basically have to give it unblockable to attack me, or
Well,
else we'll trade.
I
But
think I think when opponent's at 9, you're just doing that anyway. So
yeah,
it comes. Yeah, title. Yeah, these land cyclers. I know some people have been underwhelmed, but I've found them to be pretty much all of them are pretty strong and desirable.
okay, so here comes the desperation draw. He has to draw something. The Corruption of Tawashi is going to come down. He's going to transform his token and pray that there's a 3 mana removal spell in his deck.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be, but maybe a Farah's dispersal or something to give him a turn. But
Find
I guess
Pylon.
tandem
Pylon works.
takedown, tandem takedown or pylon. I suppose if he had the green. And
No, that's a
yeah,
grafted butcher. Just gonna show him that he's just dead to this title terror for the second game in a row, essentially.
so Chris York showing an extra card because why not? He saw the last game anyway. But yeah, he's just going to send in here with this title terror. So, sort of last threat standing, and it's the threat that can make itself unblockable. So we see Chris York take the second game, and now we're going to get a third game here.
No, that is yeah, that was the third game.
Oh, that was
Game's
the third
over.
game. Sorry about that. Yeah. All right. We see York getting the win here over John P. So congratulations to Chris York, and we'll be back in a little while for our second match of the week.